Mr. Vinod's call. He is the joint MD of International College. He's also an ex-director of Fashion Design Council of India and a postgraduate from Ahmedabad. Mr. Kaul also comes with a lot of experience in the education industry and the fashion industry per se, with over 30 years of experience. And last but not the least, I'd like you to say hi to Mr. Suri, Mr. Rohit.
Hi, everybody. Hi, this is Rohit. Welcome to the webinar.
Yeah, Mr. Suri had this plan of coming with a shield and a mask, and he forgot about it, I think. So it's okay. So that dramatic entry, he forgot about it. But anyways, so Mr. Suri is a filmmaker. He's a fashion photographer and a creative artist. And as much as I know him, he is more of a learner than a teacher. He learns from his students, and I am one of them, and he does not learn from me. I get a lot of yelling from him every time I'm attending his sessions. And I'm, he tells me to get under things and climb over the steps and everything to get the right angles. And if I don't get a right angle, I'm always yelled at. So that's Mr. Suri for you.
No, I don't think so. You're a good student. You know, the yelling is not yelling, actually. I'm trying to guide you every time maybe I'm very loud on my voice, but that's with a lot of respect for you that you're a good student. So I hope you'll take it positively.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for saying that. At least it saves me this face around it. Anyway, so sir is going to today take a topic on the new age fashion and product photography. So I'm sure he will get you more involved in it. But as of now, as a fashion aspirant, as somebody who wants to get into this industry, what does fashion photography or product photography would mean to you, and how are you going to take it up as a career? And he will be covering segments like what is, like I said, fashion photography, what is it, why is it important, and the photography for the digital age. And you cannot be actually running around too much in your everyday as a startup, also carrying big camera instruments and everything. And also photography as an art of storytelling. So I think I shall stop sharing this slide, sir, and I will ask you to take over from here.
It is always a pleasure to have you to talk about things, but yes, welcome everybody. So what we are going to talk about today is that in this new world, that we have walked into, where social distancing is a norm, you have to wear masks and you have to do a lot of work from home. We're going to look at the new ideas, how we can carry on with product photography, fashion photography, right from our homes, from our places where we are confined, and not leave things behind. So I'm sure everybody has phone cameras these days, and you don't need DSLRs now anymore because phone cameras are really good. Quality of pictures, and they have everything that you need to do product photography. So let's start with the idea that how do we do product photography? I have a few slides to share with you. So can we get the slides? So I have a few slides to share with you, and I'll keep talking to you about all those ideas that we have around these slides. Call, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I'm sorry I couldn't greet you. Yeah, good afternoon, sir. It's always a blessing to have Call, sir, on the screens, when you're talking. He's so much of an inspiration. And he's always inspired me when I used to work for the FDCI as a photographer. So he was always there to make sure that we work the best. So let's see how I can take you on this journey with everybody, that why we need to use the new modern tools, why we need to find ways that we can work around with, and how should we go ahead. So the first slide that I want to start with is how to take good photos with your phone. Are you going to get onto it? Yeah. Are you checking on, or should I? All right. So can you? Yeah, 1 second. It's just taking me. second to. Yeah. So I'm going to go full bloom on this and full screen. All right. And can you, yeah, we can see them. I will take good pictures with your phone cameras. And yeah, correct. So just give me a second and yeah, we're right there. So how to take good photos with your phone cameras. Now, when you open up your phone cameras and you start trying to shoot pictures, there are a lot of things that we don't notice when we start taking pictures, you know, because we just pull out the camera from our pocket. We don't even realize that, you know, we could have put a lot of spots on the lens, you know. So the first thing that I would advise you is to clean up the lens of your phone camera the moment you want to start doing photography with your phone camera. Now, when you pick out your phone camera and when you start taking pictures, you have a lot of formats. You know, sometimes you have a portrait format, sometimes you have a panorama format. So it's very important that you realize what format you want to take the pictures onto. So always use your grid lines that are there on your phone camera. Check out for your camera's focus. What subject do you want to focus on? And always try to embrace the negative space that is around there. You know, use that space in a way that you can create a nice picture over there. When we move ahead to those things, you have to look at the different perspectives from where you can shoot a picture. Because perspectives is very important. When you just, most of the times when we take pictures with our phone cameras, we realize, oh, I didn't get good results. Now, you have to realize why you didn't get good results is simple reason is that you don't look at the perspective from where you want to shoot your pictures. You just start taking pictures. Now, picture, just clicking the button. You know that, oh, I've clicked on the shutter and the picture is done. No. You have to actually dream a picture in the beginning. Unless you start dreaming about a picture, what do you exactly want in that picture, you will never get a great picture. So the most important thing is to start with a perspective, why I want to shoot this picture. What is my project that I want to shoot? What is the background that I have? What is the lighting that I have? All these things are very important. Now, in today's world, when you can't go and get DSLRs, you can't ask photographers to come and shoot your pictures at studio or at your workplace, and you want to go online because today you want to be selling. You don't want to just sit at home because a photographer is not available. So what do? You pull out your phone cameras, prepare yourself up that, okay, I am going to be the photographer. I am going to be the graphic guy who's going to touch up my pictures. I'm going to be the guy who's going to put all the creative writing to it. And I'm going to go online. So we're going to talk about this today. Does that go well with you, ma'am Gulbash? So when we find the perspective, now if I'm in a room, I'm quite sure a room is a good place to take pictures. And we have lights. So what kind of lights? In a normal room, we'll have a tube light, or we'll have a lampshade, or we might have a big window from where the light's coming. Now, how do you play with that light? How do you play with that composition? And how do you actually visualize that is what is very important. The moment you pull out your camera, phone, first try to understand your phone camera, that what are the technical settings that I need to go to. Because if you do not put them in the proper place, you will never see a good result coming. So there are a lot of things in that. There is exposure value, which is EV on your phone cameras. There is ISO on your phone cameras. There is shutter speed on your phone cameras. There is white balance on your phone cameras. There is grid lines on your phone cameras to see that your image is proper and it is not tilted. So go back to your phone camera, study all those things that are there, and then try to see where the image has got some reflections, because there'll be a lot of stray lights coming. Suddenly you'll find that your product is highlighted on one side and the other side is dark, because there is a light source which is close to it, and the other side doesn't have a light source. So when you do a picture, a final shot, you'll find, oh my God, this is bright on this side, but my design is the same. So try to figure out, start jotting down and understanding that what are the challenges that I am feeling. You can always talk to professionals or people like me that, okay, I'm trying to do this and I have a problem. We can always help you to do that. But the best thing at that point of time is to find out what is troubling you yourself. So always keep a pen and a paper ready with you to identify the issues that you are facing. Once you have all the issues ready, you can ask for help. You can go online to read about them also. So now I'm going to tell you, how do you plan a shoot when you are at home. So supposedly you say, today we are making masks. Everybody is trying to make some designer masks, So mask is a very smart thing now. How do you display a mask? So unless you have a model, or you have a dummy, or you have a mannequin, how do you put on a mask? So I would say it's very simple. If you don't have a model at home, you're the only person, all right. Okay, you don't have a mannequin at home, all right. Would you have something on which you can tie a mask? Yes, of course. Don't you have a plain wall where you can just put the mask, create some eyes, create a nose, create some hair, do a torso, and try to explain your mask with that. So you have to create that ambience, how you can create a creative visualization. So when the moment a person tries to see that, he finds it interesting. Now, when you have a football, suppose you have a football at home. Oh, the best thing is to put on a mask on the football. Create those eyes, make some eyes, put on some nice hairdo, or try to do something on the top is like a headgear or something. You could add on a little jewelry also on the sides. A lot of things can be done. Now, when it comes to the visualization, I'm quite sure that most of us are artists. We are all born artists. You can't say that we are not artists. We, in our daily walk of life, actually keep on doing things which are so creative. And when we keep on doing those creative things, we do not realize that we do some things extremely well. We are quite different when we see our results and people appreciate them. So the best thing is to try different shots. Suppose you want to do one shot. So don't finish all your efforts in one go. Keep one location, try a window on the other side, try a side lighting, try a backlit, try using the lampshades that you have around you. Also try using some white reflective boards, which can reflect light. So I'm going to explain you about all these things gradually. Yeah. So when we go ahead with this, we are looking for symmetry also, which is very important, that how when you do an image, there has to be a symmetry. Then you have to keep an eye out for repetitive patterns, that everything doesn't look the same. So you have to plan your shoot in such a way that it looks like a different design. It doesn't look flat. Then when we go around, you also have to realize that how to play with colors, because colors play a very important role. When you're doing a photograph, the moment when you go to online portals, how do you see a product and choose it? Anything that looks good, has a good quality picture, is displayed very well, has a very pleasant style statement, the colors are bright, it's not a bad image that has been uploaded. You always look out for products like that. So you have to play around with colors. When you're shooting with phone cameras, stop zooming, go closer, or crop an image only to the extent that the quality of the image doesn't go bad. Because most of these phone cameras have this issue, the moment you start just playing with your fingers and you keep on zooming the image, the picture quality goes down. So you will have to realize that, okay, how much do I want to zoom in? What is the point where my quality is not being damaged? Because the moment the pixels get damaged, you will never get a good picture and people will not like that picture. When you move ahead, start using natural light. Natural light gives you a lot of ambience. It gives you a lot of effect. You'll have a window, or you'll have a door, or you can just go out and see the shade and the sunlight falling. Try to play. Look at this image that I've shown you. There are those fingers at the back, but there's a flower in the front, and how the reflection of the fingers is actually creating a very nice effect. Now, this is what you have to do artistically, is to start seeing through your eyes, that how my picture is going to look different, how my picture is going to look stylish. Is it making a fashion statement when I'm doing a picture or not? Then when we move ahead from natural light, you have to create abstract. So maybe sometimes you might be just trying to shoot one product, but you might have to use some add-ons to it, just to accessorize the look or the arrangement, Maybe you can use a table or a lampshade or a pair of glasses on the sides or something, maybe a pot, maybe some flowers arrangements around that, just to make the visuals look very interesting. Then when you create an abstract like this, people get attracted to that image. Of course, in the online trade, normally people want images which are against a white background. Now, in a situation like this, if you don't have a white background, what are the alternates? A white bed sheet. You could probably just roll it and put it across. Or a white chart sheet if you might have. A white table could be another place which you can use to create a white background. So you'll have to look out that what exactly, is it a promo picture that you're trying to create, or is it that a picture that you're doing which is purely a brand picture, or is it only a product picture? So product pictures mostly people prefer which are against a white background, so that the online portals also accept it. Now, when you go ahead, probably you can try taking some candid shots if you have a model and you have a product. You can play around with them. You're not moving too far away. You're not going to locations, but you're trying to find. So now this has a wall which is broken. All right, the plaster has gone off. But if you see on the left-hand side, but the visual is looking interesting. So you necessarily don't have to go to those exotic places to shoot because it's not possible. So probably you could use some of the doors that are there, or the windows, or a rooftop, or a picture against the sky. If you have a model or a mannequin, you could probably play around. Move ahead to this, be non-conventional. When you are conventional in your ideas, you are just the regular stuff. So try doing things which are very different. Think differently. You don't have to think regularly the way as everybody thinks. And like, look at this picture now. So this is at a location which is a regular location, but yeah, it's making a statement. It's shot from a smartphone, and this was done over a very strong daylight, when the sun is right on the, literally on the top, but a little towards the downtrend, and there are nice shadows being created over there. So when you see a picture like this, look at the way the model is standing. He's standing very casually. There's nothing very specific about it. But yet, look at the flow of the design. The colors are coming out nice. The background is not very cluttered. The sky and the water is making the dress stand out. The composition is in such a way that it is giving to proper aesthetics. The rule of the thirds has been followed. So moving ahead, you have to start thinking about a theme, because unless you dream about a theme, it's not good to do a picture, because any picture should speak for itself. We move ahead to the next. If you can't look for a very good location, try to find that how differently can you create a location in the available places. So just a little water, and that water is also not very clean over there, that corner. So people are trying to do that. Just a different look, a turnaround is making a difference. Moving ahead, you have to see that how you can make your phone more engaging, how to play with your phone with the looks and the design. Prioritize the light. Look at this light which is falling on the face of this model. Now the light is not exactly so proper because you don't have artificial lights over there. But yes, it's been used in such a way that it's creating an effect. And also the dress is looking out good. So lighting is going to be a very key affair. We'll talk about lighting now in a little while. I'm just taking you through a tour. Then composition, how you use the hands, the arms, the legs, all the accessories around, and how you try to create a mood in your picture also makes quite a lot of difference. Moving ahead, what place are you focusing on? So sometimes you focus on the wrong place in these phone cameras, So because you just have to press on the spot and that focuses. So maybe you do not remember that, oh, you tried taking a picture, but you were so much of a hurry that you focused on the background and rather than on the model. So you have to be very careful that you make sure that you focus on the right place. All right. Also, talk to your subject. You have to communicate with your model and the project also. Because unless you communicate with your subject, you're not going to get the good results. You have to communicate, experiment with different angles. So sometimes you're at the same level, sometimes you have to go down, sometimes you go to the sides, sometimes you can take from the top. Try different angles. Unless you try different angles, you will not be sure that what angle is going to give you a great shot. So once you have 10 different angles, you can really choose that, oh, I think so this picture is looking good. This shot actually does me a good job. So experiment with different angles. Try the portrait modes in the phone cameras, because portrait modes in the phone cameras make pictures softer. Everybody wants to have a very bright, shining look. So when you see a portrait mode, the pictures turn out to be really different and they have a special effect on them. The skins look more softer. There is a little bit of a glossy effect as compared to landscape. Landscape modes will have very bright colors, very sharp colors. But portrait mode will have more softer skin tones and, it'll look better. So you will have detachable lenses also, which are coming now in the phone cameras. So you can try doing some creative work with those detachable lenses on your phone cameras. Also, you can use different props. So glasses, a hat, anything like that, a carry bag or a clutcher in hand. A lot of accessories can actually change the visuals. So if you try using a lot of accessories, it makes a lot of difference. And then you have to learn how to edit your fashion photographs. You have to keep on editing your photographs in a very different way so that you're able to balance the product and the backgrounds. Because what happens most of the times is that if you do not edit your pictures properly, you do not get the desired results that you're looking at. So you only get the desired results when you are able to edit your pictures. And there are a lot of tools. You could go onto Photoshop today. You could go on to a lot of software tools which are available. And then you can also, Lightroom is there. If you don't want to work too much on Photoshop, you can work on Lightroom. There are a lot of mobile softwares which are there, which come along with your phone, so you can increase the contrast and you can play with the colors. A lot of things like that can be done. What is also important is that you prepare your garments before you go out for a shoot. It's equally important to prepare your garments, because most of the time when you pack these garments and you take them out for a shoot, on a fashion shoot, you find that, oh my God, this just got crumpled. I can't do a shoot, and at the location or at that point of time, you don't have an iron to do it. So what else is that we have a setup for a studio. So even at your home, you can actually design a small setup along with lights, and I'll tell you how you can use lights which don't have to be professional lights. This is a professional design of a studio, but you can always design these studio lights with the available lampshades, with the available tube lights that you have. You can use some white reflectors, so you have a foil in the kitchen where which you pack some of your food. You can use these kitchen foils also to reflect light. So we're going to talk about that. Backdrop. So if you don't have a white paper backdrop, you could use those white linens, that can actually just come and fall down, or white bed sheets, and then you can create a white background out of that. If you do not have a mannequin, can you put on a hanger and try to put on your garment to it and try doing some designing? So these are a lot of things that we use to do these. Now, when we come back to talking about lighting, so the most important thing that we need to understand is that a good picture needs a proper lighting. Unless your lighting is proper, you will never have a good picture. Now, how do you make a good picture? So, whenever you start shooting with your phone cameras, look at what are the various sources of lighting that are available to you. So, suppose there's a nice window in your room, and from that window, there's a very nice soft light that's coming inside. Okay, that's a good idea. What else? All right, I have a door, and if I open the door, there's a nice soft light which is reflecting inside. All right. Okay, I have this nice lampshade, and this lampshade has a very soft light which goes around. Could be a good idea. What else? Oh, I have tube lights. Okay. Yeah, but I have some extra lights with me. I have some bulbs and holders. All right. Now, how do you design your lighting in your home when you do not have professional equipment is the best part of this entire process. Because the moment you design a good lighting source, your product starts looking better. Every time you have a different lighting, the product suddenly, gets elevated, because anything that brightens up or has the mood lighting on it actually changes the perspective of the product. Now, supposedly, if you were to take, in today's time, most of the people are, what are they doing? Okay, say masks. Now, as I told you in the beginning, when you're trying to do a mask, how can you use it? If you don't have a model at home, all right, can you find something? I gave you an idea that you could put on a mask onto a wall, create some graffiti over there, do some sketching, create a look for a mask, and try doing that. You could probably have a round box. You could probably tie the mask to that. Try to create some effects around that. Good enough. Maybe a round ball or something. Now, it's not just about that part. When it comes to the camera, you actually have to realize that unless you are able to do a proper lighting of that mask, unless you're able to create proper effects to that lighting, the pictures will not look good. So how do you create that lighting? Supposedly, you have a lampshade, or maybe you have two lampshades. Try bringing them onto one side. Instead of bringing right in the front, try using them from a little sideways. The moment you try bringing the lamp onto a little sideways and projecting it, look at me, I have a lamp right across over here. Now, if I move this lamp, the light suddenly brightens up on my face. Now, if I turn it a little this side, the light angle has changed. So you have to keep moving this light in such a way, see, slowly, everything is changing, there are shadows coming at the back. So you have to try playing with your lights, whatever available light sources are there. So suppose there is a tube light over there, and it's right up on the top, and it's falling down straight, okay? Can you just put on some white paper in front of the tube light so that the light reflects down very softly? Suddenly the mood of the place will change. That is why when we go to hotels today, you don't see those direct lights. The lights fall onto the ceiling and then they fall down. If you go to good locations, it's mostly soft lighting. When the light is reflected is thrown to the top, and from the top ceiling it falls down. So probably you could do these things to cut down that harsh direct light that is falling. These new generation phone cameras can actually shoot under very poor light conditions also. So it's not very difficult to try the natural light. If you can actually try the natural light through your windows, on from the sides or from the main door, you sometimes get some very great effects with these lighting. Also, when you can go onto your phone camera and you can increase or reduce the lighting over there. So when you increase or reduce the lighting over there, it makes a lot of difference on the picture over there. Now, what is important for today's time is that in these days, multitasking is going to be a very, very important thing for our future. One person will have to do a lot of things himself because you can't get manpower from outside. Everything is locked down. You do not know how long will it take. And you need to go fast back so that you can sell something. So when you're thinking about doing all these things together, as a photographer, you have to be the visualizer. You have to be the photographer. You also have to do the props yourself. You also have to do the graphic designing yourself. So when you have to do all these things together, it's a great challenge. And it's something which you will have to actually try doing it on your own self. Now, when I look at a phone camera, white balance makes a very important difference in the quality of the pictures. So most of the time we do not even realize that, oh, have I changed the white balance in my camera or not? No, we just go shoot and then suddenly we realize my phone camera is not giving me good results. Why is your phone camera not giving you good results? Because you have not been observing the white balance. So when you are not observing the white balance, how do you change it? Now, when you go to a white balance which is daylight, you get colors which are very normal. When you go to a cloudy white balance, you get warmer colors. When you go to a white balance which is shade mode, you get furthermore warmer colors. There'll be a cast of yellow and a deep sense of mud color on them. Now, all these white balance settings also prompt you to make creative pictures. They actually lead you to creative pictures. So when you want to do things which can change the effects, play with your white balance on your phone cameras. Try different white balance settings at the same lighting conditions, and you'll find that the effects are very, very different. You will have effects which are completely offbeat but interesting. Now, when you go back to your phone camera, you'll also find that you have shutter speed in that. Sometimes when we hold these small cameras in our hands, our hands tend to shake a little bit. So you will have to pick up a shutter speed, at least so that when you hold a camera, the picture is not blurred. There is no shake. So try a shutter speed of 1 by 60th part of a second or 1 by 125th part of a second. Now, when you go and manually set them, so you will have to go to the pro mode. Most of the times when you do not go to the pro mode in your phone cameras, that's the time where you actually leave everything to automatic. You don't get the desired results that you are looking at. So always when you're shooting with product pictures or fashion pictures, go to the pro mode. Be the master of all your settings yourself. Now, when I change the look and when I change the profile, how this imagery is going to work, I go to the pro mode. Now, the first 3-4 things that I see in the pro mode is exposure value, shutter speed, ISO, white balance. What format? Is it a 16 by 9 do I want? Or I want a square image? Or I want a panoramic image? You have to visualize for yourself that what are these formats that you want to take your picture onto. When you are choosing a background, you have to keep in mind that the background should complement your product. If you have a black product or a dark shade product and you're shooting it against a white background, the product will never brighten up because the white is going to eat up. It's going to shine out and the product would look dead. So most of the times, you also have to see that when you take a picture of a product, the background should complement the product. It just cannot be that I have this white wall, so I'll only shoot there. Maybe you have to put on a white, other colored bed sheet over there. Or you might have to put on some curtains over there, which can play an effect. Keep a distance between the background and the subject so that the background can be a little out of focus also. It could be a little blurred. It creates a nice impact. When the product is a deep colored product, suppose it's a dark brown product. Now, if you use a dark brown against a white, I don't think so. Most of the times it'll look good. Why? Because the white's still going to stand out. So when you're doing deeper shades, sometimes even when we do professional shoots, we look at locations at gray, a deep gray, or a black, or a yellow ochre, some colors which can still make the product stand out. So we have to start seeing and working on things where our products can play around differently, and the effects that we get on our products are substantially different. So if I was to look at a normal room, there is a nice sofa, there are curtains at the background, and if I'm shooting in the morning time, the sunlight from the back is coming. What a nice thing. It'll cast a nice halo around that product, because if the light from the background is going to come in, it's going to create a silver lining effect on that product. So can I use the morning light? Can I use the evening light? Or can I use the reflected light? This is for us to decide as a photographer. And all these things can only be certain if you try shooting at 3 different times. So you will compare the results. You will see, okay, morning I did this picture. All right, the background is looking good, but my product is not looking good. All right, I did this picture when there was not a direct sunlight coming from the back, and there was a nice gush of light coming, but it was a shade over here. Also, most important is that your product should be facing the light. It cannot be against the light. So if you have a window over there and you're shooting towards the window, so the product will never brighten up. So you have to play the product in such a way that that available light that is being reflected on the product actually falls on that product. If the light doesn't fall on the product, it's just like when we take a photograph of ourselves. How do we do it? When we are in sunlight, we look at the sun, and the photographer has his back towards the sun. So same way, you have to be very careful that how my light source is playing. Because if the light source is not playing properly, you will never make a great picture. Whether it's through your phone or through a DSLR, or even if you call a professional photographer and you tell him, no, you have to shoot from here only, it will never happen. So light source is a very important factor. We have to start understanding light. See, we are all born with a camera. Our eyes are the best camera. God's gifted us a camera from the day we were born. So you can't say that you don't know how to use a camera. We've been using a camera right from our birth. And when we've been using a camera, we see everything differently from our same camera. And when we see things differently from our eyes, so sometimes as a good photographer, you should try closing one eye and just look from one eye. Because when we look from both the eyes, there is a lot of other things that we see. So if you can close your eyes and just look from one eye, it makes a lot of difference. You're able to see entire thing absolutely in its frame. Also, when you close your eyes a little bit, you actually see the different levels of light, because light and the colors they play. So the moment you start closing your eyes a little bit, you'll find that the shades are darker and the brighter areas are brighter. That also explains for how the light is falling. Now, if you see me, most of the time, when we sit in front of a laptop, we don't even realize, we say, okay, I want to do a live shoot over here. But are my eyes bright enough? No. Most of the time when we do these live calls and video chats, our eyes are dark. The most important thing that speaks for us is our eyes. Our entire face and everything is lit up, but our eyes are completely dark. People don't even realize that, that you speak to people through your eyes, through your lips. People watch your expressions on the eyes. Same way when you're doing product and fashion, you have to realize that you make sure that you see that the light is falling on the subject very uniformly. There are no dark areas. There are no areas which are creating a different effect. Sometimes lights coming from various different sources create color effects on these products. For us, it's just a lampshade, but the lampshade has got a yellow cover, and the yellow cover is doing a yellow cast on our product. Finally, when you have done the shoot, you realize, oh my God, my product is looking yellow. Half of my dress is looking yellow and half of my dress is white. Why? Because this lampshade that you had used actually had a white outer cover. And the light that was coming through it became much more warmer. So this side has a warm effect and this side has a cool effect. A lot of things to watch out. A lot of things to work around and see that how we create images. We have a lot of opportunities to work with daylight. Daylight is a much safer way to play work with, because daylight is very balanced, and the color shades is not a problem because everything is calibrated according to daylight. The white balance of daylight is about 5600 degree Kelvin, which is very good for normal pictures with our phone cameras. That is why when you shoot pictures out in the daylight with your phone cameras, you find that everything is bright, the colors are perfect, the looks are very nice. So let's try if we can go with daylight. And even in these conditions, when there is a lockdown, but you have walls and you have the sun rising up, nothing else is stopped. The sun is rising up every day. The birds are there. The sunlight is coming up. It's only that human beings are not going out. So can we try doing these product photographies in the daylight? That's another good option. Now, when you're doing with daylight, you have to be careful that sometimes the daylight is very strong. So as the sun rises up towards the noon, the sun falls from the top. So when the sun falls from the top, if you have a model or a product or a mannequin outside over there, the light falls on the top. So probably you'll have very harsh shadows over there. So it's advisable to shoot early mornings and say by about when the sun is about to set, a little half an hour or 45 minutes before that. When the sun is really at the level, it falls very nicely on the project. So don't use the noons, noons. If you want to shoot in the noons, use the shade areas. Don't go to direct sunlight because direct sunlight in the noon is going to create very different effects. It'll have very strong shadows. Try the early morning. So as the sun is rising up, if you can use that time, you will have some amazing results. And if you can use the setting suns, yes, you will have amazing results. Also, when you go on the outdoors, you have to realize that you might find that, oh, this wall is not very well painted. The plaster is chipping off. But I'm quite sure that all this can be so creative effects, You could try a black and white shot, or you could just burn out the wall by increasing the aperture a little bit, the EV on your phone camera. So try different creative things with the phone camera settings. Sometimes you can increase the ISO in your phone cameras and it creates an impact. Or you can go to the various modes that you have. You can use a softener if you're finding that your picture is looking very harsh. Try playing with all the creative tools that these new generation cameras have, because these new generation cameras are coming up with everything. You just need an eye to start shooting differently. They already give you a lot of technology backup. They give you all the advantages that you can have over natural lighting or artificial lighting. They actually explain you, all these phone cameras actually explain you also that how you can try different tools. Now, one of the most important things which we forget when we shoot with phone cameras is we stand and we shoot a picture. And when we stand and shoot a picture, we don't even realize whether we are shooting a horizontal frame or a vertical frame. Most of the times we miss out on, realizing how we are shooting, because just because we are standing, we pull out the phone camera and we want to shoot. We don't even want to bend down or come to the level of the product. So most of the times when you're shooting somebody sitting down, you're actually shooting the headboard, the crest more, because the camera angle is from the top. And when you go very close to the subjects with these phone cameras have wide angle lenses, extremely wide, 11 mm, 9 mm. So most of the images get obliterated. So you have to be careful to maintain a specific distance between the subject and the camera. Probably you can zoom the picture to the extent that it doesn't get, the quality doesn't deteriorate, but don't get the camera right to the neck, because if you get the camera lens right to the neck of the product, your images are obliterated. That is why when you try doing a picture with your arm like this, if your arm looks like a shark, how can a hand be a shark? But the moment you try doing it, it looks so obliterated, it looks like a shark. So maintain that little difference, because DSLRs have a 50 mm lens, a 35 mm lens, or an 80 mm lens. All phone cameras are wide angle lenses, 9 mm, 8 mm. They try to cover a wider view between a very smaller distance. So images will have these effects. They'll be obliterated. The shape and the size will get altered. So keep that respective distance between you and the subject so that the image doesn't get obliterated. Now, why I was telling you is that we mostly try standing. We don't even sit down. Whenever you are shooting a project or a person or a fashion shoot, come to the center level of the product or the model. The moment you're standing and the product model is also standing, you will have a headshot. You will never have a balanced shot. It's going to be the hair and the headgear which will show more. So it will look bigger from the top and thinner from the bottom because it will be an obliterated image. The image will not be perfect. So try seeing what angle I have to shoot at. Go down, sit on the ground, try creating pictures and see which angle is giving me an image which is looking very interesting. It has a very creative look. So all those things are very important. Also, when you move ahead with these phone cameras, storage space is a big challenge. Most of the times we go on a shoot without realizing that, oh, I have a lot of my old stuff lying in my phone. And the moment you start doing a shoot, you run out of space. And you don't have a laptop there to download your pictures. You don't have an extra memory card with you. So be very careful when you are going out with phone cameras that you have adequate storage space to try to shoot so that whatever you shoot, you don't have to delete your older pictures. So probably carry an extra memory card. Also, the new generation cameras are coming with detachable lenses also on phone cameras. And phone cameras are pretty good on quality. Also, what you could do is, if you're just shooting pictures, why can't you start creating small films with that? Product films, how to explain your product. So try learning the medium of film also, because these cameras are doing some amazing films, 4K resolution films from your phone cameras. So when you are doing up your products, people want to see a 360-degree view today. So Google has this tool where you shoot and you can shoot your product through your phone camera on a 360-degree view. And actually it gives you a complete view of your product from all the sides. And it's being done by phone cameras. It's a Google software which you subscribe to, you pay for it, and you get these pictures which give you a 360 view. So phone cameras is going to be in. Photography in the future is going to be happening with phone cameras for online markets mostly, because you have to cut down your costs. You can't hire professional photographers. Margins are thinning out. Sales are dropping. You're out to saving every last penny over there. So when you're out to saving every last penny, you have to be the master of the tools that you have in your hands. And I feel that a long, detailed study about all the aesthetics that are involved in the photography side, in the graphic design side, in the creative side, we all need to multitask. So I can't say that I can just be a designer. And I don't know, I don't want to touch photography, no. The times to come, you will have to be multitasking. You will have to be doing most of the things on your own. So it's very interesting that I am a photographer, filmmaker, I'm a painter, and I'm also somebody who goes and does lectures around on a lot of issues. Why? Because if I just think that if I am only a painter, I know I can't survive. If I just want to be a photographer, I know it's going to be difficult to survive. So I'm using all my talents, all my creative energies to put out things differently. Same way, I think so everybody has to start using the tools that he has around him. So the phones, the laptops, the editing skills, the creative skills, also your creative writing. Most important thing, today, if you do not give an identity to the product that you have done, if you don't put up a proper word to it, if you don't explain your products in a good way, it doesn't sell. If you can't build up a story around it, it doesn't work. So I think so photography will help you to open up your eyes towards all those things. A deeper knowledge of photography will actually help you to explain your products in a better way. And I think so a rigorous training that how I need to explain my product, because you might have 10 things good about your product in mind. Do you think somebody else who shoots for you will understand what you actually want to explain about your design or your motive or the way you've done it or the weaves or the handicraft part of it or all the good things about it? Probably if you are the creator of your product, you know the best how to explain about all those things and how to explain that, okay, this has been done traditionally under this weave. So all these things will need you to be a good photographer and a good visualizer. So photography helps you to visualize things in a very different way. I wouldn't have been so good at visualizing if I had not picked up photography as my hobby. It started with me as a hobby. And suddenly, over the years, it became my profession. And now it's my passion. It's no more a profession. I think so for me, photography is a passion. If I don't talk about photography, if I don't do photography, I think so I'm bugged. I just can't think creative. So the moment I have my phone camera or my cameras with me, I'm at my best. So probably we need to understand this, that initially, if you're not good at it, that doesn't mean that you're not good at it. Probably you don't have the right training. You've not been mentored properly how to use those tools. So what is very important is also that we need to be mentored properly, that how to use the tools in the right way. If you do not know how to use the tools on a graphic system, you will never get the effects. But the same tool, when you know how to use the tool, gets you amazing results. So a deeper knowledge, a quest to learn is equally important to learn when we are talking about photography. What do you say, sir, Call sir? I think so I've taken too long to speak about my journey.
I find it very exciting. Actually, cameras are now a third eye for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Everyone takes a lot of pictures, but I find a lot of people do it without putting too much effort or thought. And one very common thing is you take a series of 5 pictures, they're no different from each other, and you send all 5 of them to your friends.
Yeah.
So I think at least certainly this class, which is more into fashion and more into a little bit more thought in terms of style and all. Could you tell us a little bit more about post-shooting editing also? And I find sometimes that is very helpful.
Yeah. So editing is, that was the reason where I was coming from. People in today's world have to be trying to do a lot of things. You just can't say that, no, I'll shoot the pictures, but I'll give it for editing, because the costs are going to be so competitive in the times to come that you actually have to do the edits yourself. And editing is very simple now. So suppose you go to a software called Lightroom, which is an Adobe software. You can play with the gamut of the colors in such a way that even if you have not shot your pictures under the right light conditions, you can create amazing effects with that. Photoshop, the tool has become so good now that you can cut out images without a lot of difficulty. You can add backgrounds to it. So it all needs practice. But yes, also you have to be mentored rightly, because most of the times, when you try learning things, you really need a mentor, or you need those good classes to learn from, And for online, actually, it's much more easier, because you don't need high resolution images over there. You're not printing them. So you are doing an image which is 600 KB, 800 KB for an online platform, because they don't have a huge storage space and they have billions of pictures over there. So they want pictures only which can be blown to a certain size. So it's a very good advantage that if you are just working on the basics of editing yourself, you can actually do your pictures and put them straight away to the online. My new plan is to teach people in the villages that how we want to bring the rural produce of this country, the weavers, the designs, the motifs and the patterns onto and I'm doing that. And I'm teaching women in villages how to use a mobile phone to even crop their pictures, and they're learning it. So it's very easy. There are a lot of good softwares that have come in today. So like when people put up their pictures on Instagram, they do all the good work, they are totally changed. They use all the effects to recreate those pictures, So somebody who wants a very good skin will use the softeners. Somebody who wants to change the colors will use those lipsticks. You can play around with anything. Today, it's so much of creativity in your hand, and with these simple tools that you can just change the look. But yeah, when I'm working on a product photography, of course, I shouldn't be playing, because there should be a commitment between what I've shown and what I'm going to deliver. If you commit something which is very different, and when you deliver something, if it doesn't come to the matching point, I'm sure you'll have sales returns in a big way. So most of the people over here would also be interested in doing things where the product actually is enhanced to a certain extent, because sometimes when you enhance the images so much that the moment the customer gets the product, he says, no, this is not what I was promised, because the product that I saw on the screen was so different, and what I am getting is so different. So it has to be realistic enhancing, and software is becoming simpler day by day. Of course, you have to pay for those softwares, because the people who are developing also are into the business of making softwares. So there are a lot of softwares which are there. Easier tools are coming. We've learned it in a very disciplined manner, where we started from Photoshop 1.7 to now. Today, the tools have become very user-friendly. They don't need so much of time if you can use your brains rightly, and if you can actually work with those tools, they do things pretty fast for you. And post-production is getting easier even on the phone cameras. So you have softwares now which you can download on your phones, and you can do image background cropping, you can play with the colors, you can play with the effects. A lot of things is being done. So software is going to change the way how people are, and you can edit your small films on your phone camera now. You don't have to go back to an FCP or a Adobe Premiere. You are editing your small films on your phone cameras there itself. So if you're doing a product film, you just edit it, put your logo over there, put your brand identity over there, create a nice, look for it, play some colors around it, create some balloons, bubbles, there are so many effects that you can put into it. Suddenly your product looks like, oh, it's a professional film that has been made. And people in the grassroots are doing it, sir. So software will certainly be a very important tool for people, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. It's quite nice learning so far, and I always enjoy listening to what you say, sir. And I learn every single time, so there are no two things about that. So just a little question that I had. Now, of course, there'll be a lot many, we see a lot many questions coming up, but this is that I need to understand. When we are taking pictures, specifically when we are taking pictures for our businesses, or we are now going online and we would like to take some pictures online. One, you said because the resolution is not required, a certain resolution not required on online portals. So I could do that and I will post it. So one, I have to have a story which is told as a product, as my product. And because it's only the visual that I'm showing, I'm not talking about it so far. And I need people to get attracted to the product that I sell. So how does that happen? And two, if now I come up with a very beautiful picture telling me a brilliant story. Now, if I want to put it on print, and then you said that it is not of a very high resolution, how do I work on that now if I want to put it on print?
See, the difference is today, as we move ahead, it's going to be a virtual world. There won't be too much of printing happening. I don't see any printing happening. It'll be e-catalogs. It'll be virtual world.
Right.
So we'll have to move away from that. Okay, if you're doing a billboard, well, for a billboard, there will be times when, you'll have a professional shoot being done. But believe me, these phone cameras are producing images which are so good that you can even make billboards out of them.
Yeah, because you see all these billboards with iPhone images that this thing was shot through iPhone, and amazing pictures.
Yeah, so it's given that latitude to you that, if you start from the starting point, you can stop anywhere and do that creative part to the extent that you want. So they're giving you a long latitude to work between, the length of your creativity can keep on increasing at every stage. Now, when you are choosing your phone cameras, they always ask you that, do you want large images? Do you want extra large images? So now you have to actually go back into your phones. Most of the time what happens is we just switch on the phone, talk to a friend and say, hi, this is good. We try a video call and we say, oh, this is too good. And that's where our search for phone cameras ends,
So, but I feel sometimes now, because this is what we had discussed the other day also, everything is going virtual, like you're saying. So even exhibitions are going virtual.
Yeah. There's a
shop
new directive from the government of India yesterday, that
correct.
the exhibitions will go virtual for the next few years. So how do you go virtual? So unless you,
That's a video walkthrough as well. So you have
yeah,
to
yeah,
combine the 360-degree, the actual pictures, and the a walkthrough. So
everybody has to become a storyteller, a filmmaker, a photographer by himself, because every time when you want to do these things, you can't be hiring people because the costs are very high, the
correct.
margins are very low, and
Right.
time will also be a constraint. People would like to produce, put it online, sell it, move ahead. You
Right.
won't have such big time scales in between that you can keep on waiting, and you're not visiting a store. So now you will only be buying products on the trust that what this person has told me a story about is going to be true. And people are going to buy more and more, handmade, made by artists, made by designers themselves, that factory bliss for some time I see, is going to be a little in a bad shape, because people will try to buy more of the stuff which comes from designers directly or artisans directly. People want to promote
Sure,
them.
sure. So I would obviously seek Mr. Call's opinion in this also, sir. Like sir just said, that we will have artisans work and handcrafted, and we've been doing this over all the webinars that we've had with the designers so far. So artisans, yes. Handcrafted, yes. How is photography going to get involved in this and merge? How is
Yeah,
that?
I'll tell you, it's
How
very
is it
simple.
going to be?
Yeah, it's very simple. See, what happens is when an artisan is producing something,
Mm-hmm.
his place of work will not be as fancy as a factory. Okay. He works under very limited resources, because for him, it's a passion. It's also a livelihood. But somewhere deep down the line, if you see for an artisan, it is a passion also, that he wants to still pursue the thing that he has learned over the years. And education, he's educated, because if you ask anybody to do that, everybody cannot do that, what he does. So he's pretty well educated when you look at him about his job. And he can actually tell you that if you want to change this, you will have to do this. Now, when you are working with artisans, photography plays a very important role. Most of the customers tomorrow are going to buy on stories. People
Right.
just don't want to buy products because of the look. They also want to understand the story behind it. That, okay, if I buy a product like this, how many people get a job because of this?
Correct.
How many people in which part of the world are getting benefited if I use this product? So with all this COVID-19 and all these things happening, people also have realized that we should work towards the betterment of the humankind. We just don't want the factories rolling. People are now realizing that at a time when there was no help available, they were like for the big shops. This time when there was a lockdown, all the small kirana shops were the ones who actually serviced us. So
Right.
same way, I think so. Our artisans are the people who are going to be still serving us. Because a lot of changes will happen in the world. So photography will take away their stories. If you're a small filmmaker also, and you're a photographer also, you will create stories which will inspire your brand. People will like to see your brand through those stories.
So we would also require, I mean, of course, learning photography is important, but then editing will also play a major role, wouldn't it?
Man, see, the new software that are coming, are not that difficult.
But
So
yeah, you don't do
each,
that, right?
each and
Editing
every
is
day. So
required.
if you see pictures on Instagram or on FB, how people push their pictures, with effects.
Right.
Okay, look at the TikToks. Now, TikTok is something very different. But TikTok, they'll be marketing TikToks coming in now.
Yeah,
People
and
will
it's
actually,
already there. This is
it's
marketing.
already there, but yeah, people would now use TikToks to market their products, because that product would be worn by the model. And, it's going to be a replay of those old saga times, when you had silent films, somebody acting like this. So these are all modern tools. The knowledge is ancient. All knowledge is ancient. Knowledge is never going to be new. The wheel was a wheel and it will always remain a wheel. So the same way, it's how you combine these things. So that was my purpose of saying that photography actually opens up your eye. it tells you how to use these modern tools very differently. Same camera, you give it to 10 people, phone camera. Everybody has the same phone brands, not very different. If you see the Insta pictures of all the people, everybody's pictures quality will be different. Same manufacturer, same phone, different people using it differently. That means what? It's a training. How that person got trained to use that phone.
Yeah. You
How,
can actually see it with what your students at ICF have done. And
yeah.
they have actually created their own pages with photography. And they are like,
Thank you to the ma'am. Bye. Bye.
Right.
Bye,
Bye.
Kausar. Bye.
Bye.